All right, now that I've completed my schedules for all my different age groups, if you haven't done it, you can go ahead and proceed and run various different round robin schedules based on 10 games for the remaining age groups. I didn't do that in the videos, but what I've done is I've went ahead and proceeded to do that for all the remaining ones in the age group. So right now I'm looking at the master calendar, and there's a few things you can do here. So across the top, right now it will show you everything. But if you're only focused on wanting to look at actual games and you want to hide the open slots, you can uncheck the open slots and you'll see that it will only show you game schedules. Obviously, this is hard to fit on a monthly calendar, so if you just click on individual day, it will take you to the actual day's schedule, and you can look at that in a kind of a different view. Obviously, they're all color coded based on the age group. Um, you can go back to the month. I'm going to quickly go back there real quick. Add the open dates in. One thing that sometimes happens. I'm going to click on the 28th here, September. I had previously actually reserved field 1 time slots uh, pretty much on all the fields. And I think I did that primarily for AB teams and travel teams to practice. But let's just say after you run your schedules, you want to look at these games here on field 4, which is the 12U games. And let's just say you want to make sure those are done in the morning. You can quickly just highlight one of them while then holding the shift key, go and highlight the other one. So you can see they're both highlighted here, and you can actually right click on one of them and you can switch and flip the game time slots. You'll see it'll quickly update here in a second and switch the two games. So let's just, if you're trying to have all your games in the mornings, that's a quick little thing you can do if the schedule didn't do it. So I'm going to actually switch and flip both of those. So as I look at the 28th, which is our opening day, you can then base the schedule. Obviously, if you want to only look at things at Mills, you can uncheck those, and so you can see as it goes across Durbin 1, 2, 3, 4, Mills 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So just a little helpful tip. That's how you switch game time slots. You also do that if you end up having a rain out on a course of a week. You'll end up swapping that to another day. You do the same process. You just highlight 2 days across over the course of a week or a month, depending on how far out you're having to move that game. The next tutorial that I'm going to do is to show you how to fill out the remaining part of your schedule with practices. So I'm going to start with 6U, since that is our largest age group. So, okay. Right now, this is our schedule. I've actually already went ahead and created a practice schedule. But again, there's nothing scheduled yet, so I can actually go ahead and delete this if I wanted to. Again, you would just go to the plus here, give it a different name, submit. One thing you have to do one of the things I'm going to do for 6U is previously the only home field that you could have for 6U was on field Mill 6. As I said before, I was using Mills 3 as a flex. So what I went ahead and already done, and I can delete it real quick here, is you're going to have to go into 6U and actually assign these teams to play practices at Mills 3. So basically what I'm going to do is put together a practice schedule for 6U that practices once per week on those teams, but only does it on either Mills 3 or Mills 6. So now that I've done that, I can go back to my schedule, make sure I'm on 6U practice, and click on the practice tab. My goal here is to give them not one practice per week, but I'm gonna try to balance it to where each team gets 6 practices over the course of the season. Now what you're going to want to do is that we only have 39 time slots left on Mill 6, but the multi-division time slots, which includes both Mill 6 and Mills 3, we have 104 slots. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to choose our schedule, September 28th through November 23rd. I want to have, God, this is already changed again. Again, only want 6 practices per season per team. I want to check this. I don't want more than 1 per week. So sometimes you may have your settings to where if you do the 6 per season, it may end up putting 2 in 1 week. We don't want that, so we want 1 per week. Check my other. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to common settings. Venue priorities. Oops, no, that's fine. I'm going to uncheck that. I don't need that one. Team settings. Nothing I'm going to change here. Pairings. Pairings doesn't matter for practice. I don't care about the days schedule per week. So once I'm happy with that, I can then hit schedule now. It's going to ask, so this is the settings based on number of games requested. So this could be if you want to only have a certain number of activities per week. So I only want my totals to be for this week only, or this schedule only. So I'm going to keep this one. But if you wanted to say like, okay, well, you didn't want more than 2 activities per week, and those would be either games or practices, you would obviously check that here, and it will factor in your other schedule you've already built out. But for me, I'm going to just keep this on current schedule only. It's going to run it. It's going through that process now. Scheduling once per week. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and lock those so that they don't end up changing. The best way to view this is actually you can go into the reports. Let's just say I want to look at team schedules here, CSV format. I go to 6U. Let's just say I'm going to look at the Braves, 6U Braves. I want to see a CSV file that includes their games as well as their practices. Make sure those 2 are checked. Hit export. Save it there. And then I'm going to go into my files, open that up. And I'm now looking at a nice little fancy CSV export with the Braves schedule for 6U. As you can see here, it's got their game schedule. So they open up on September 28th at 11 o'clock in the morning against the Pirates. 2 days later, they actually have a practice at 7:15 on Mills 3. So you can see that's how they highlight different ones. So this could be a file that you would end up providing the commissioner so that he could then forward it on to the individual coach. Something that if the coach wanted to send out a quick email to his parents with their schedule, this is what they would go off of. So some pretty good little handy tools there that the system gives you. That covers it for this scenario. And if you have any questions, obviously feel free to reach out. Thanks.